Welcome back to the channel. I'm Walt, and we're going to take a look at a pod mod today. And this is a device made by Vaporesso. I believe it's been out for a little while, but it's still available. And I'm very impressed with this. That's why I'm going to do this review. And I'm going to try to make this review real short. There's not a lot to cover. But again, just very impressed with this device. It's the Vaporesso PM80. Alright, so here's the outside of our little buddy. And let's start where it's sitting. Up here you can see a place for the air intakes. And a little rubber stopper pops right out of there. So you can have 3 air intakes open. I'll put the rubber stopper back just so I don't lose it. Down here is our Type C charging port. Got a metallic frame all the way around. It's kind of a neat frame. It's very shiny. And sometimes it'll appear completely black, and other times it'll appear almost like chrome. So like a real shiny chrome surface. Here you have all along the edges there a real nice carbon fiber kind of a pattern. On this side it says Vaporesso Target PM80. Here's our front of the device with the fire button, the 2 adjustment buttons, and there's a screen in the middle. Pretty sharp looking device, really. Looking at the bottom, you got a little bit of venting, and you've got some accreditations. The pod itself is magnetic, and it's got a real snap to it. Pops right in there real nicely. Pull that out of there. Looking at the inside, we can see that you've got a couple of magnets. As well as our electrical contact points here at the top. On the bottom of the pod, you've got the magnets, and you've got the coil that just pulls straight out of there. This is the center contact. The outer edges get the other contact from the inside of the pod casing. You can see that there's a couple slits in here. This kind of marks a direction that you need to put the coil in. Like I say, it just slips in and out of there. At the top, we've got the fill port, which opens up. Nice good sized fill port right here at the top. Flip that baby around and seal it up. And it's clear. I like that. So that's what she looks like. Okay, looking at our screen, up at the top, you got a battery indicator. You've got a W saying that it's in wattage mode. Okay, sometimes you'll see an S in here if you turn on the smart system, meaning it's in smart mode. Down here you've got 23, that's how many watts. We're in W again, watt mode. It adjusts in 0.5 watt increments. Down here you've got a range that it suggests for power. Down here you have the resistance of the coil. Here you have the voltage of the puff. It only works while it's actually firing. Down here in the bottom we have a puff counter and the time of the last puff. If I press this 5 times, it'll turn off. If I press it 5 times again, it'll turn back on. If I press it 3 times, it'll lock the adjustment buttons. If I press it 3 times again, it'll unlock the adjustment buttons. 2 buttons at the bottom, if I press those together, if I can, there we go. You can go through a menu. The top one is variable wattage. Next one, variable voltage. The next one, you can turn on and off that smart feature where it'll guess what you should be using for power for that particular coil. Here you have puff, so you can clear the puff counter. Here you have theme. You can change the color of the screen. Here you have default to reset to defaults. And here you have exit the menu. Looking at the side of the device, up here in the top, we've got the air intakes. Now I've got a plug in there right now. I'm going to pull that out and hopefully get this camera to readjust focus. It doesn't seem real interested in doing that. There we go. And you can see there are 3 holes in here. There's that configuration is on both sides. You get a couple rubber tabs with this thing that you can place in those holes to restrict your airflow. And the plug initially comes covering all 3, and one of the things they suggest is you can take the one plug and put it in and leave the other one out. I found that to be very, very noisy. I didn't like that at all. So I took the plugs and I cut off the end of the tab so that it only closes up 2 of the holes and leaves 1 open on both sides. And I like that vape. That works out real good for me. So there we go. There's our description. So there you have it. Looks pretty plain Jane. So why was I so impressed with this thing? Well, you know, it's the high points on the thing. The things I like about it, what makes this something that I use and enjoy. Okay, it's small, it's light, it's easy to carry, charges in a hurry. Okay, our juice well in here is clear. I can see how much juice there is in there. It holds 4 milliliters. That's quite a bit. This thing lasts for a good long time. The battery in there will give me over 200 puffs. In fact, once I got 300 puffs on a battery charge, I think that's pretty doggone impressive. It puts out a real nice hearty vape. This thing is not mouth to lung. Okay, it's direct to lung. Any way that I've tried to configure it anyway. That's just kind of the way that works. The coils have been lasting a real long time. They aren't giving up the ghost. And the last thing, probably the most important thing to me, is flavor. Hands down, so far, out of every pod that I've tried, this has got the best flavor. So, with that, I'm just going to keep it short. I said I would. I do like this device. I can recommend it. Obviously, up to you. I was no fan of pods for a long time, but something like this comes along and I get really good flavor out of it, and it's this easy to carry around. This has a place. This has a place for me. I slip it in my pocket. I may not use it all the time, okay, but I am using it and I keep it with me. Have a good one.